This tiny little machine is one of my favorite laptops ever. It's called the VAIO P, and it was very ahead of its time, although probably too much so for its own good. In this video, I want to discuss what this particular device was all about, and to see what it's like to actually use one in 2024. So, let's jump right in. The VAIO P came out in 2009, right at a turning point in the laptop space. Back then, notebooks were generally bulky, power-hungry, and even if you had the occasional outlier that was sleek, those were also incredibly expensive. However, the late 2000s brought in the age of the netbook, a product category that grew wildly popular thanks to Intel's release of a low-wattage chip called the Intel Atom. While these machines couldn't hold a candle to larger ones in terms of performance, they were perfect for things like word processing, Excel spreadsheets, and simple web browsing, which actually met the needs of most people. However, most importantly, these devices were also very affordable. We're talking anywhere between the $200 to $600 range in a landscape where traditional machines could easily cost double. Growing up, I actually owned a Gen 1 Asus EPC that cost us about $300 back in the day. And while it ran a bare bones build of Linux and was incredibly slow with its 512 megabytes of RAM, it was absolutely perfect for things like taking notes in class. Not only that, but it worked so well for me at school that my teachers were also very on board to the point where they actually got the whole school to buy a fleet of them since they were so cheap. I hold very strongly that netbooks walked so Chromebooks could run. Put that on my tombstone. Why am I dying? The popularity that netbooks saw ultimately led to faster developments in the space on both the hardware and software side, allowing for more performance, better battery life, and optimizations in key areas such as video playback when it comes to later iterations of these devices, which ultimately led us to the VAIO P. Although, as you'll find out, this thing was far, far, far from fast. The VAIO penis is real. Nope. We can't say that on YouTube. Now, I should preface that we actually looked at this on the Austin Evans channel a couple of years ago, but it's been so long since then, and I have no recollection of how well this thing actually worked. So we just open it up. God, I love the form factor of this. It is so small. Let me power it on and see if it works. Oh, the screen is on. The screen doesn't look half bad. I mean, the viewing angles are awful, but considering that this is just a normal TFT LCD from 2009, yeah, man, text look totally fine. You can see all of this load in very sharp resolution for this very tiny screen.
That doesn't sound right. All of this load.
No, don't put words in my mouth.
That's what you said.
No, I absolutely did not say that.
Yes, you did.
No, I did not.
What did you say?
I don't know what I said. Now, originally, the VAIO P was shipped running Windows Vista Basic, but here it seems like we worked on it because it is running Windows 10, which might actually be a problem because I think that this operating system might be a bit too clunky for the hardware that this particular laptop is equipped with. We're talking, if I go into our task manager, which is taking forever to load, bro, this is taking forever. I'm just trying to, control alt delete here. Come on. I'm just trying to do basic things right now. When I say that netbooks weren't fast, I wasn't kidding. This one in particular was probably one of the worst of the bunch. We're talking single core Intel Atom for 2009 and like 2 gigs of RAM. You can't even open up Task Manager quick. Also, if you hear a bunch of growling coming out of this computer, That is actually the physical hard drive. We're talking a 1.8 inch 60 gig drive that actually is spinning and mechanical. It's not an SSD, it's not eMMC or anything like that. That was pretty common on netbooks. No, this is just a standard spinning mechanical drive, which is probably adding to the sluggishness of this system. Not only that, but we are literally 97% usage on our disk in terms of bandwidth and 61% on our CPU just by doing nothing. Bro, this thing is so slow. But let me talk about what I actually like about this, which is the form factor and the way that it is built. Man, I seriously love the form factor of the VAIO P, especially how wide it is, because it completely departs from the normal design of a laptop, especially without a trackpad here. What this means is that it relies on a little nubbins in the middle to navigate around windows, and you also have your mouse buttons on the bottom, which wouldn't seem that comfortable, at least looking at it from a distance, but actually using it, this is surprisingly intuitive. And I must say that this particular VAIO P actually is in decent condition. Turning on the screen, I think there is one stray hotspot on here, but otherwise it looks really nice. I'm kind of surprised that there are no outstanding blemishes on here. I mean, certainly things that are wear and tear, like maybe some scratches here and there, but at least from a distance, man, this thing looks clean. Actually, looking at it, the port selection on here is also rather interesting. So you have the standard, you know, 2 USB-A ports on here, as well as a headphone jack and a barrel connector for your power. But we also have, I don't know if this is proprietary, but we have a non-standard port here on the side, which I imagine will probably be for things like video out. Is that a lanyard? No, that's not for a lanyard, is it? For a lanyard? You know, wear this on your neck? That's like a mini Lexington port. Look at that.
I think that's exactly what that is.
Dang, I didn't know they made a mini version of that. Either that or that's just a random hole on the side of this laptop.
Here we are, like, oh, this is so useful.
It's so useful. Or good job, Sony, you put more holes in here that wasn't necessary. And also, because it is a Sony product from 2009, it can't go without a memory stick duo slot. Because Sony thinks. Though pretty helpfully, there is an SD card slot here as well for you normal people out there. And also something interesting is that this is definitely a VAIO P that came straight from Japan. You can actually tell because it has our hiragana characters on the keyboard, which is actually kind of cool. In fact, you have a little button here to switch from katakana, hiragana, and romaji. Oh, wait. I'm such a dumbass. How could I not talk about the best part about this laptop? The fact that it has a removable battery. Yeah, repairability. 2100 milliamps, 16 watt hour. Oh, that's not a lot. I think Sony said that this would last somewhere in the neighborhood of 3 to 3.5 hours on a single charge. Even for a laptop back in the day, that was kind of nothing. Wow, look at this. Old ass Microsoft sticker for Windows Vista Basic. Wow. Oh, it has a product key. So if you want to install it using my product key, there you go. Will the battery actually hold a charge? So this has been plugged in for, I think, about 2 hours now. And what's not filling me with confidence is when I hit the battery icon here, it says 0%. So something's definitely amiss here. If I just unplug it, yep, we killed it. Okay, so the battery does not hold a charge, but at least it does take power. Let me actually spend a little more time getting this VAIO P set up. I want to use it a bit more. Might do some software tweaks here. I got some ideas on how I can make this a little better and more ideal to use, and I'll be back with some thoughts. All right, I spent some time using the VAIO P, and my experience has been, let's just say, interesting. First of all, I ended up bypassing the original Windows 10 install on here in favor of running this custom, lightweight, and portable version called Tiny 10, which gets rid of a lot of the bloat that causes normal Windows 10 to chug on these machines. Now, do note that we lose out out on official updates from Microsoft, which means there are security risks here to be aware of if you do decide to also do the same thing on old machines you have lying around in your house. So I wouldn't recommend this for serious use long term. However, for the sake of short-term novelty of trying out this tiny and awesome looking laptop, why not? Right? Well, the unfortunate thing is that even with Tiny 10, this VAIO P is still painfully slow. Quite literally, the simplest tasks of today, like opening up Edge or running Spotify, throws the CPU into 100% usage, leaving the computer hanging for chunks of annoying time, and boy does it get this computer hot. Now, I certainly have no doubts that I could be experiencing some bottlenecks by running a portable version of Windows off of a USB stick, and that maybe a light build of Linux on an internal SSD could serve us better here. But the consensus after searching around online is that regardless of what you do, this computer is just very slow in general. It's not to say you can't do nothing on here. I actually could get the notepad up, which runs pretty smooth, and it gave me the opportunity at least to try out the keyboard. While it's certainly less than ideal due to its tight spacing, this keyboard is actually not awful. Sony gave us a pretty comprehensive layout of keys considering the form factor, which does give this a little bit of a pass, though I think what's the most offensive here is the actual key press feel. It is incredibly mushy to type on, so much so that I actually question whether or not I hit certain keys or not. It's a shame that this hardware package is not up to snuff, because the VAIO P could have made for a really good media consumption device considering its size. In fact, look to the right of our mouse buttons here, and you'll see a button for the cross media bar. This is the exact same interface that Sony liked to put on the PSP, the PS3, this PSX behind me, and a bunch of TVs back in the day, but of course ported over to Windows for the VAIO P, as well as other Sony computers. Sadly, I couldn't get it working on this machine, though it would have been awesome to at least experience it a little bit, even if the media playback would have been somewhat sketchy. Circling back to the point that started this video, I understand how profound it might be to call the VAIO P one of my favorite laptops ever, given how impractical it is, and especially considering that it costs a whopping $850 when it was new. What the f? However, what I seriously admire here is what Sony was really going for. When you consider that handhelds like the Steam Deck and way more boutique options like the GPD Pocket are way more common these days, I think that the VAIO P's form factor was seriously ahead of its time in a way that the hardware and software of this era couldn't really keep up. Maybe in another universe where Sony still ran VAIO, perhaps we could have seen a reboot of this in 2024, but let me know if you would like that in the comments below. And otherwise, thanks for watching this video on Denki channel.